Nestled between majestic mountains and azure seas, the kingdom of Lumina was a land of immense potential. Yet, as its golden fields stretched to the horizon and its bustling cities hummed with life, shadows of inequality and environmental neglect loomed large. Poverty haunted the villages, forests receded under relentless expansion, and the people's voices grew faint in the halls of power. At the heart of Lumina's grandeur stood King Solon, a ruler with wisdom in his eyes and compassion in his heart. One fateful morning, as he gazed upon the kingdom from his palace balcony, he declared, "This land will not prosper until every hand is lifted, every voice is heard, and every tree stands tall. It is time for a new era, the Great Reform." King Solon's first step was to introduce a social protection system. Programs were launched to ensure access to healthcare, education, and housing for all. Farmers were offered safeguards against harsh winters, and artisans received training to adapt to modern markets. In a quiet village, Lyra, a young widow struggling to raise her 2 children, found solace in these reforms. "I no longer have to choose between feeding my children and sending them to school," she whispered tearfully as her son proudly brought home his first book. The system wasn't merely charity, it was empowerment. Citizens like Lyra began contributing to the kingdom's progress with newfound confidence. The king turned next to Lumina's merchants and craftsmen, urging them to adopt corporate social responsibility. He challenged them to not only seek profit but also nurture the land and people. Emil, a merchant who owned a bustling dye factory, was skeptical. Change is costly, he thought. But as his workers planted trees to offset the factory's pollution and introduced sustainable practices, something remarkable happened. Profits soared. Customers care about how we treat their home, Emil realized, marveling at the harmony between ethics and enterprise. King Solon knew that reforms could only endure if the people themselves had a stake in governance. He dissolved the old autocratic council and replaced it with a democratic governance system. Village representatives, chosen by their communities, joined the kingdom's council to shape decisions. For the first time, farmers like Bran, who had spent decades battling droughts, had a voice. "Bran, I spoke of our need for better irrigation and they listened," Bran said, his weathered hands trembling with pride. The following season, water flowed freely to the fields and harvests doubled. Understanding the diversity of his kingdom, King Solon transformed Lumina into a federation. The coastal cities with their vibrant ports managed fisheries, while the mountain villages oversaw forestry and the central plains focused on agriculture. This balance of regional autonomy and shared purpose united the kingdom like never before. King Solon. Each region contributes its strengths while standing as one. The king proclaimed, watching the map of Lumina come alive with collaboration. Underpinning every reform was the triple bottom line model, a focus on people, the planet and profit. Forests began to recover, rivers ran clear again, and wildlife returned to the valleys. Lumina's citizens thrived, businesses flourished, and the kingdom's reputation as a land of prosperity spread far and wide. Years later, as King Solon passed the crown to his successor, he addressed his people one last time. "King Solon, leadership is not in ruling over you, but in creating a land where you rule yourselves, fairly, responsibly, and sustainably." Lyra's children grew into teachers who brought education to the kingdom's remotest corners. Emil's dye factory became a beacon of sustainability, inspiring merchants from neighboring lands. And Bran, the humble farmer, was elected as the council's head, ensuring the wisdom of the fields guided Lumina's future. The tale of Lumina spread far beyond its borders, teaching the world that when governance is just, businesses are responsible, and people unite, a brighter future is inevitable. The story of Lumina reminds us that prosperity is not built on wealth alone, but on fairness, responsibility, and collective effort. A thriving society is one where every voice matters, every tree is cherished, and every citizen stands tall with dignity.